Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about if you've ever gotten a letter like this. That is right, guys. That means you are a victim or you have been part of a identity theft or a data breach, which in this case was a data breach. So in this video, guys, we're going to be going over ways to protect your credit now that we've built it, established it. But before we get into the video, go ahead and click on the subscription link, turn on notifications so you can stay up to date, and let's go right into it. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is number one, freezing your credit. Now, freezing your credit is something that I'm shocked a lot of people still do not know. What this does is you put a freeze actually on all three of the bureaus. So we have Equifax, we have TransUnion, and we have Experian. Freezing your credit report will not allow anyone to have access to it. It will actually pop up and say, this bureau is frozen. Now, this is one of the more proactive or the most proactive thing that you can do is actually freezing it up front. What they do is they will give you a certain number, a digit code to unfreeze your report. So you go online or you do call them, you provide the number that is sent to you through the US mail to unfreeze your credit report. Now, again, this is a very, very proactive approach. This allows identity thief or would-be thieves the ability to, when they pull your credit, it will be frozen. They cannot open new lines. It will prevent anyone from inquiring. And again, in my opinion, guys, what they should do is when they issue a report, when you do start establishing credit, I really feel like the freeze should be proactively put in there, providing you a number to unfreeze your credit report. Let's say when you're assigned a social security number, or even later on in life when you turn 18 years of age, the government should go ahead and provide you with that digit number to unfreeze your credit report, which when you do unfreeze, you really have two options. One, you can unfreeze it completely, meaning it will be open and free access to your credit report. The other one that you can do is a 24-hour unfreeze, which is most common. So if you do need to pull your credit, you call, you provide them the number, they unfreeze your credit for a certain amount of time. Usually it is until the next business day or 24 hours. In that time, you can pull your credit, utilize it as needed. After that point in time, it will go back to being frozen, which again, it is for some people a little inconvenient. Kind of the con of this is you do have to unfreeze your credit. So you go to get a new vehicle, they pull your credit, come back and say, stop, your credit is frozen, cannot move forward. You do have to obtain or remember that PIN number. Go ahead and provide it, unfreeze the credit report, and ensure that that can be pulled. Now, the second one is viewing your credit report. So make sure, guys, that you're looking over your credit reports. Now, the government does give you one free credit report every single year. That is right, guys. It gives you full access to your credit report. However, the caveat to that is they do not give you a score. Now, looking over the credit report, making sure that everything is on there, everything is yours, the credit lines are yours, making sure the balances that are on there are yours, is going to lead to an incredible score. If there is an inaccuracy on there, if there is something you have to dispute, it can take 3 to 6 months before it is disputed, guys. So if you pull your free credit report, you notice there is something wrong on there, it can take 3 to 6 months. In that time frame, if you're looking to establish or looking to pull your credit, it could adversely affect your credit, making sure, again, that all of the balances, all of the reporting on there is correctly. Now, one of the other big factors is using multi-factor ID. Now, we have seen this extra step of security that is coming into pretty much everything. We've seen it with banks, we've seen it with credit unions, we've seen it with cryptocurrencies. We've seen an absolute incredible amount of multi-factor identification. So what does that mean? That means that, let's say you're logging into a bank account, the bank account is going to send you a 4 or 6 digit PIN. You have to provide that PIN every single time. Now, for fraud reasons, guys, never, ever, ever under any circumstance, provide that PIN number, provide your pass number. That is given to you by your financial institutions. If anyone requests it, financial institutions will not. So if somebody else is requesting it, chances are 100% that it is scams and it is fraud, guys. If you ever question someone calling you, if you ever look into any of the inquiries that you have, make sure you're reaching out and contacting them themselves. You're not relying on emails that provide phone numbers, text messages that verify information, text messages that provide phone numbers. make sure, again, you're not relying on the information that is provided to you, that you are going out, getting the phone numbers or the contact information for your financial institutions yourself. That way you know exactly who you're calling and exactly who you are contacting. Now, in the case of the multi-factor ID, again, this has been very regularly, a lot of people will use same security codes. They will use same passwords. The same password that you might have for a Google logon is the same one for a banking logon, is the same for, a video game logon, whatever it may be. Make sure you're securing your passwords. Make sure you're using different passwords, guys. Even different variations of the same password, while not as secured, will still give some variety. If somebody gets a hold of one single password, do they have access to all of your passwords, which is very, very hard. Now, there are a lot of applications on the phone. There are a couple on the computer that use a lot of two-factor authentication. Another one that they do is kind of biometrics. A lot of them are using biometrics, fingerprints, retina scans, things of that nature, really proving who you are, that are very difficult to manipulate. That way fraudsters cannot get in there. Now, another thing that a lot of banks of credit unions have started doing are using virtual card numbers. So what they do is you have a debit card, you have a credit card that are linked to your accounts, but they are providing virtual card numbers for online shopping. Now, as the chip authentication, two-factor, all of this stuff starts coming into play, thieves are more likely to do things remote and do things online, which is the reason why the virtual account numbers are created, is to give you a virtual number that is not tied to the physical cards you have, which is good, because if there is a compromise, if there's a data breach, like we've seen a lot of times, they won't be able to use it anywhere because the virtual account number is only used for one single purchase. Now, it is a limited use token linked to a card account, but not linked to the actual number that's on the cards itself. For instance, if I wanted to make a purchase at Best Buy, I could get a virtual card number. It would give me a one-time use virtual card number. When I use the card number at Best Buy, that transaction is complete. It charges my account as normal. Let's say 6 months, 8 months down the road, whatever it may be, Best Buy does have a big data breach. With the data breach, my card number is compromised, but it was the virtual use one-time card number, so I am not at any liability there, because if they try to use the card number elsewhere, it is not going to work. Last thing that we're going to talk about, guys, is identity theft protection. Now, with the ID protection, there are a lot of companies that offer this, but they do a lot of the monitoring services, which I do not like, and I'll tell you why. With the monitoring services, they tell you when there has been an inquiry, they tell you when there has been someone who pulled your credit, which is kind of a reactive measure. So once you do get the notification saying, hey, there is fraud that was possibly on your card, there was a transaction, is this you? This would not happen if your credit report was frozen. If your credit report was frozen, when they attempt to pull it, it will not be able to be pulled because the bureau is locked, meaning they have no access. So again, identity theft protection, credit monitoring, things of that nature, come with a cost. Most of them $7, $10, $15, $25, even $50. They have programs where they will verify you up front or verify you first. And if there is a credit loss, or if there is a suspected fraud, they have financial losses that can result from the fraud. A lot of times, most of this you can do yourself with going ahead and crediting or locking all of your credit reports. So guys, I hope it helped in some way. Again, the card I got was from a actually compromised bank account that I do not even bank there. I have not banked at the physical location in years. Don't have any accounts with them. It has been closed. But going back years, they said the information could have been compromised, including social security numbers, including date of birth, including personal information, whether it be valid or not valid, it is still compromised. So again, guys, I hope this helped in some manner. If you like the content I provide, go ahead and again, click the subscribe button, guys. Turn on notifications to stay up to date on everything financially related. And as always, thank you guys for watching.